is time!
Shh! Spoilers ahead.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Cinemattraction. I'm Heat Guy Jay, and along with me, as always, is my partner in crime,
Jack Napier.
Jack Napier. There you go, the Joker himself. Today we're really excited because I'm really excited because we're doing two films that I've really loved. And the first one I definitely love.
Right.
The classic.
Right.
So tell the people what we're doing today.
Okay, so we're going to in this episode we're going to be talking about the
See, he's so
Flash
excited.
and Batman '89.
He's so excited, he cannot get it out. He's like...
No, I had a Monster Energy drink about an hour ago, so
He's like...
other brands are available. So, what have you been watching this week?
What have I been watching this week? I have been watching we saw Paul Blart last night, didn't we?
We saw Paul Blart 2. I've
What?
not seen Paul Blart 1. And
Awful.
it's one of the worst films.
Terrible,
I
terrible.
didn't even log it.
No.
I haven't even logged it.
Yeah, but you logged it for me. I weren't going to log
Well,
it.
you were really into it. You were like, this film's incredible.
I saw Don't Worry Darling, the film directed by Olivia Wilde.
How did you find that?
I
There's no
thought
way I'm doing an episode.
It was interesting. It was an interesting film, but it was I don't know. It was a little bit. The ending was a little bit of a letdown, I thought, but it wasn't too bad a film. It was a sort of a middle of the road type film.
Don't worry, darling.
And what else did we see?
We saw The Flash together.
We did. The biggest film of the year.
Speaking of multiverse, we saw our alternative universe selves.
We did
Through
at
the screen.
the Flash screening. There was an alternative me in a like a sort of Hawaiian shirt.
For the record, you can't see us. Jason would never in his life wear a Hawaiian shirt.
I would never wear it. Do you know what? I don't even wear shirts. I only wear t-shirts. Yeah. So there's no way in a million years that I would.
Awful shorts as well. I don't think
I'd never wear shorts.
No,
never. Never in public.
No, and you were really literally sat on the edge of your seat,
Which I have never done at the cinema.
No,
never.
no.
Even in the most exciting bits, I will never.
He was literally sat perched on the edge of his seat.
He
for
was.
2
That was
hours.
edge of the seat entertainment.
It was certainly something. Whereas I do apologise because I kept knocking your drink over.
You did. You kept getting up to go to the toilet,
Right.
which you've never done before.
I am basically a camel. I can retain liquids. for
Exactly. And in the
centuries.
multiverse, you just can't. In
Whereas
the multiverse,
this guy got up like 14 times.
he
to
did.
pee,
He did.
so
His bladder was terrible.
I saw The Craft and Welcome to the Doll's House.
Yes, I need to see The Craft. I've got it on my watch list. I've never seen
I
it.
will lend you the blue.
Okay. I would love
love
to
it.
see it.
It's terrible.
Okay.
And it's so 90s.
Yeah, but
I
it's
love
witches, isn't it?
It's witches.
Yeah, I
it's
like
a couple of
witches.
So Welcome to the Doll's House, which is absolutely fantastic. Radiance films just keep knocking it out of the park
Right.
for me. Also rented Evil Dead. Right.
Oh, you didn't rent it?
I rented it.
Did you really? After all the times you've seen it? After like the 3-4 times you've already seen it? You've seen it 5 times already?
Mm-hmm.
So we can safely
Yes,
say...
he's getting the 4K!
Yeah, we can safely say this is John's film of the year.
I don't think it's the best film I've seen this year at
No,
all.
but it could be your film.
It's probably my favourite.
Yeah,
film
your
of the year
favourite,
so far. The Flash is a superhero spin-off based on the popular DC character of the same name, directed by Andy Muschietti. Film marred with a range of production problems with the COVID-19 pandemic, actor, writer, director switches, post-production studio disputes, and ongoing controversy surrounding its central star Ezra Miller. We'll be discussing Ezra Miller's performance in this film. We will not be addressing the various controversies surrounding his personal life in this episode. A quick synopsis. Barry Allen / The Flash revisits his private life and troubled upbringing, working hard to clear his wrongfully imprisoned father of charges relating to the murder of his mother. When overwhelmed with emotion, Barry discovers that he can manipulate time by running a bit faster. Barry uses this to travel back and save his mother. As he tries to return back to his timeline, he is knocked back by a villainous-looking entity and winds up in 2013, where his mother is nice and alive, and a deeply obnoxious alternative Barry also resides. Barry convinces 2013 Barry to endure the same accident that he did in order to secure his gnarly Flash powers. 2013 Barry duly gains these powers, but main Barry loses his.
Yeah.
He's stuck. And to make matters worse, A transmission occurs welcoming Kryptonian General Zod onto Earth. Barry knows precisely what's coming next and fruitlessly manages to contact the other members of the Justice League, except for Batman/Bruce Wayne, who happens to be an older alternative version in this 2013.
The best Batman!
In this
the
2000
OG Batman!
this
Sorry for my
timeline.
excitement.
Together they plot to find Superman, only to discover that Superman doesn't exist within this realm, ultimately securing the services of Superman's cousin, Kara Zor-El. There's a big old scrap, and the Barrys wind up learning the value of sacrifice and acceptance, and that some things cannot be corrected. I think I did really well summing this nonsense up.
I think you did, because this is a really convoluted movie.
What do you think of The Flash?
Right, well, The Flash was, as you mentioned, a very problematic movie.
Yeah.
Not just because of...
Problematic production.
Yes, not just because of Ezra Miller,
Ezra
but because of DC and the changeovers.
Yes.
Where we were having somebody, David Zaslav, I think his name was,
sure.
took over,
Yeah.
and then he dumped the Batgirl movie.
Yeah, he did,
Yes,
yeah.
he canned that.
Yeah.
Now, Michael Keaton was supposed to be in that Batgirl.
I believe also
Film.
Brendan Fraser.
Yes.
Was also in that.
Yes.
Okay.
And they were supposed to do something where they were merging the Snyderverse and the universe of Tim Burton's, because you were going to have J.K. Simmons as Gordon in it.
Right, it's confusing. Okay.
And but he's a Snyder.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
Gordon,
he's the Commissioner Gordon.
So that film never happened. He was also Michael Keaton was also supposed to appear in Aquaman 2.
Okay, I didn't know that.
But because of all this hoo-ha, and then like I don't know if
Switchovers.
David Zaslav is still in control, because I think James Gunn has taken over, and another fella, hasn't he?
type character.
Yeah,
Sure.
somebody else is helping him as well.
Yeah.
I think his name's David something.
Right.
So what they had to do was they literally had to get Ben Affleck back
Right.
to film the scene as Bruce Wayne for Aquaman 2, because the Batgirl film wasn't coming out, so Michael Keaton couldn't appear in it because we didn't know of his existence prior to it. You see what I mean?
Right. Do you know what you could have?
So everything was all messed up.
You could have just had him walk on a set or walk into a shot. No one would have minded. The place would have gone down anyway because it's Michael Keaton as Batman. You don't need to go to great lengths to introduce these characters.
And I know a lot of people didn't think this film was coming out. I mean, I know that I would have listened to American podcasts where they've talked about it, and they've said, like people have said, well, unless I've got my ticket in my hand and I'm literally sitting in my seat watching the film, I am not going to believe I'm watching
this thing
it.
is actually happening.
And to be honest, I couldn't believe it was actually happening. I really couldn't. But I did have faith in Andy Margaretti. No,
Margaretti.
it's not his name. I did have faith in him because
He's a very good director. He directed the two It movies that were...
Yes.
Yeah.
I also quite enjoyed that film Mama, I think he did as well.
Sure.
I thought it wasn't a bad film.
Fine.
So my expectations for this were, I suppose they were quite high, really.
Why?
Because of the fact I knew Michael Keaton was in it.
Well, here's the thing. The other movies leading up to this from the Snyder universe have been absolutely awful. Why would you be excited about this one?
Well, because Michael Keaton was in it.
Okay.
Literally because Michael Keaton.
Okay, fan service prevails.
Well, it's not fan service, is it?
It's absolutely fan
It's just
service.
Michael Keaton.
Right, okay.
It's my OG Batman, right?
Right, I would just say my expectations were somewhat tempered because of how bad the other ones were.
Right.
So going into this, I was a bit sort of like,
I thought this was
going to
be good.
Absolutely awful, or it's going to be better than the.
Well, I
the
thought it was
dross
going to
that
be
we've
good because
endured.
I actually did enjoy the 2013 Man of Steel.
Fine.
I did quite enjoy that.
I didn't hate it.
I didn't really like Batman versus Superman,
No, I thought it was
and
dreadful. I haven't liked any of them.
I
They've
didn't
all-
mind the Justice League one, but it was too long.
Which
one?
one?
The Snyder one.
No,
The other one was terrible.
I think compared to, here's the thing about the Joss Whedon Justice League. Never finished it
No.
because I thought it was awful.
Right,
I
okay.
couldn't finish it.
Yeah.
Finished the Zack Snyder one, even though it's like 3 hours long.
But that's because it's a half decent film. It's half
Well,
decent.
no, it's not. It's just better
Okay,
than
it's
a
better.
terrible movie.
Yeah. I mean, I have some problems with some of the things that he does, like he did the nightmare thing with the futuristic thing that I didn't see the point of that really.
No. Well, they're just trying to set up future things, which
but isn't going to happen.
Was never going to happen now.
But I think it's safe to say when we both saw the opening scene,
Yes.
where Gotham General's has a wing that sort of falls apart, doesn't
Yeah.
it? And a load of babies' incubators fall out the window from a very high window, and Flash has to use his powers to scoop them all up.
Yeah, there's a disaster at a hospital,
Excuse
and
me.
the Flash is called in with very, very low energy levels, and so he's
Yes,
eating
yes.
while ascending the side of a building and saving falling babies.
And
One of which he rescues in a microwave.
Right.
There's a baby in a microwave.
There's a meme now where
is there?
that
Okay.
somebody runs that back and it makes it look like Flash puts the baby in the microwave to cook it.
Good.
Which is absolutely... I don't know who came up with the idea that a baby is going to be placed in a microwave
It's
at
funny. There's some really darkly funny moments in this film.
any scene in this film why a baby would be put...
One of the other babies has a load of scalpels coming
It does,
through his head,
doesn't it? Yeah.
Which is
It's quite dark.
fine by me.
I was very surprised how comical this film is and how
My
funny.
favourite film of the year is Evil Dead Rise.
Right.
So you can understand the type of sense of humour
You
that
like
I
the
have.
dark, yeah. I mean, I love this scene. I absolutely love it. And I was so surprised at how comical and funny the film was.
It is, yeah, it is
And
funny.
it doesn't take itself seriously
No.
at all, which I
No.
thought was a really good thing to
No,
do.
I don't know, I disagree.
I don't know, I think maybe Andy, what's his last name again?
Machete.
Yeah. I think I think he wasn't taking it seriously. I think he knew that obviously like the flag, because they knew that the end was coming, didn't they, before it was released. So maybe he thought about putting out a film that wasn't as serious as like Zack Snyder's stuff. And also the DC has been known for being too serious, hasn't it, and dark.
Oh, it's very dark, yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas Marvel is quite poppy and
Yeah.
quite
So I
populist,
think they
suppose.
wanted to go for something like that when dealing with perhaps the multiverse, because the multiverse, it's a silly thing, isn't it? You know
It's
what I mean?
ridiculous,
It's not
stupid, and
yeah. And it's a comic book thing. The multiverse is always going to be a comic book thing.
It's
So
silly time travel nonsense.
yeah. So also maybe one of the other reasons this film maybe took a long time was because it was Ezra Miller was had to do 2 lots of shooting. Also,
I'm not.
I mean, he had to do 2 parts in this, didn't he?
Yeah, sure. With a very unconvincing wig.
Yes. But obviously, you can't talk to me about this film without mentioning Batman.
Sure. Okay, well, let's just go through the story before we get
Okay.
into it. So it's a very, very, very simple,
Yes.
despite it being enormously convoluted, threadbare story. Barry travels back in time to rescue his mother and faces unintended consequences, but it's so overblown. And so much of it is so unnecessary. And so fan servicey. That said, I enjoyed every second of it.
Yeah. It feels to me like a sort of almost
it's a
like a
fun
Saturday
ride.
morning cartoon.
It's exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
that, Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like there's a good way of saying it. It's
or
a fun
even
ride.
yeah, or even those things that you used to say about the Marvel films were kind of like episodic things.
Episodic. Yeah. Serial.
Yeah, serials. Yeah, superhero serials, and I think that this film feels very much like that.
Yeah. There are holes.
Oh yeah.
Not only wormholes and time holes and that kind of stuff. I'm not familiar with his character and his backstory.
Right.
Who killed his mother?
Right. I think Reverse Flash kills his mother. I think.
Right. Why?
And Reverse
why
Flash
doesn't
is a
that
multiverse version of himself. I think.
Why doesn't that explain that?
I don't know. And he wasn't Reverse Flash in
The
it
whole
either.
thing, the whole motivation of this is him going back in time to save his mum and get his dad out of prison.
Yeah.
Right, he gets his dad out of prison.
Yeah.
Who killed his mum?
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
Um,
I'm going to admit I'm not very familiar with
I'm not
Flash
familiar with the character
from the
at all.
comic.
I figured
from
you might be,
Yeah,
yeah.
no.
You sound familiar
Batman,
with
I am. Batman, not.
Sure.
No.
The time displays Barry, who is dressed up in black, with all the what looks like twigs and branches hanging out of him. And he's considerably older.
Yes.
Didn't initially recognise or understand that to be like an old Ezra Miller. Kind of didn't know who or what was going on there for a second.
Right.
That was confusing. For a good, I say a good stretch of time, I had no idea who that character was or
Right.
that it was old Ezra Miller.
Right.
So that was
It was.
right. Great. Costumes are great.
I had no idea that was him. It didn't look like him, did it?
No.
No.
I didn't know it was him.
No, it didn't look like him.
I didn't know it was I didn't know.
No.
I didn't know it was they, sorry. The fight with Zod... You said that it doesn't take itself seriously. I think it should have.
I think the Zod bit should have been a bit more serious because of that was very serious in the Snyder film, and this is the same. But is this saying that every dimension has or universe has a canon event like in Spider-Verse?
I would...
That Zod is a canon event?
That's what I think is being is being related.
So
It's
basically,
just
Zod is going
variations
to come no matter where in the multiverse you are.
It's just variations on particular characters.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of the fight with Zod and Batman, and the fight with Zod and Batman and Kara is all well and good. Great, fine. Terrible CGI, but we'll get into that.
Yes.
And serves to nail down the futility of trying to correct past actions and events, right?
Yeah.
But it feels really tacked on to me.
Okay.
Like they need...
Yes, it needs something big in the movie.
You need a big CGI punch-up climax, whereas I feel, and if you look at... Well, anyway, I feel... You could have nailed the futility of trying to correct past actions and events, perhaps by focusing or tying that to the overall family dynamic, which may, given its core aspect, the dissolution, the dissolving of the Allen family, a lot more weight.
Right.
I don't care. I want to know who killed his mum, but I don't care. Because they kind of gloss over it for a big CGI fight with Zod.
They do.
Really should have tied that aspect with the family into the Zod thing somehow, right?
Oh, well, I'm going to be honest. I think this movie, if you actually put it down in the stories, going like chronologically, this story has no point.
The story has absolutely no point.
No point, because he doesn't save his mother. He does save his dad.
That's the thing. It's learning, as I said at the beginning, it's learning the value of sacrifice and acceptance, and that some things can't be reversed
Changed.
or corrected or whatever. Yeah, that's what they're trying to say. Fine, got it.
But I think we've learnt this. Didn't we learn this from the film The Time Machine by H.G. Wells? That he used to go back and back to save his love, and he never could.
He could never do it.
Yeah.
Right.
So we've learnt this, haven't we?
Sure. Well, I mean, within the context of this film and this particular story, and trying to relay that particular type of sentiment, the whole thing is around the family, but it's kind of brushed over for this CGI fight, which I don't think was entirely necessary.
Well, I think it was necessary, because if not, you've not got a set piece.
Well, that's the thing. You could have done something else. And
but that multiverse ending wouldn't have been a big enough set piece to because it's just
I'm not saying you should have done...
No.
I'm saying you should have had something else and maybe tied it into the family and made that a bit more impactful,
maybe
purposeful.
Yeah.
Because by the end of it, I want to know who killed her, and B, I don't care.
I think it also should have... I think it should have taken them longer to find Supergirl. Because they had to go to Russia, and it was basically, Barry's looking on Batman's computer, and then suddenly Bruce Wayne goes, well, she's in Russia, we'll go and get her, and they just go and get her, and it feels a bit kind of like just easy, like, oh, it's all right, Supergirl's in Russia being held in this thing, and we'll just go and get... They don't know who Supergirl is.
Well, they think it's Superman, don't they? And then they bust it open, and it's like, oh, there's a girl in it.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah. I did like the fact she couldn't beat Zod. I thought that was good, a nice twist.
Right, because he killed Henry Cavill's...
Yes, as a baby.
Sure.
Yeah,
okay.
As the infant. And also he kills Supergirl, which I think was, I don't know, maybe an interesting twist, because you instantly presume, well, it's Supergirl, she's not going to get defeated.
Right. Because in Man of Steel, Henry Cavill's Superman kills Zod.
Yes,
so
exactly.
they sort of spin it on this one.
Yeah.
Right, gotcha.
So you presume that she is the Superman of this universe, but she's not.
She's going to do... Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but she's not.
No.
So...
fan service, then.
Okay, fan service. Let's talk about this, because we can talk about
so
20
many
minutes
cameos and Easter eggs in this, and they are much like the Flash himself. They are coming at you at 2 billion miles an hour. These things. Like a Flash. So, cameos then.
Okay, right. Okay, so let's start with the first cameo, which is blue and grey Ben Affleck Batman.
As Batman, okay.
And he is fantastic.
Yeah, he looks a bit CG when he's doing his bike thing.
I love him on the bike, though.
Sure.
That bike is
It's not really him, though, is it? It's just a model of it, surely.
I think it's probably a stuntman, isn't it?
Or a stuntman,
maybe,
sure,
on the bike. But I do think... I'm not the greatest fan of Ben Affleck, but I do think he looks so tough as Batman.
I think he's a fantastic filmmaker. I don't think he's a particularly great actor.
But he does look really tough as Batman.
Yeah,
really grizzled and gnarly.
He's a big lad.
Yeah. And thick and tough,
Ooh.
where obviously Michael Keaton's Batman, he's not a big man, and
No.
Michael Keaton has never been a muscular man.
We'll probably get into the next one.
Okay.
Into the next movie. So the other one is Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot, yeah, nice to see her.
Always a pleasure.
Yes, nice to see her.
Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa,
Turns
yeah.
up as
I thought he was
Aquaman.
great. My man, I'm
There's
gonna
a-
fall in a puddle and go to sleep.
There's a post-credit scene in which they get drunk. Flash's metabolism is a lot quicker by the
Yes.
looks of things than Jason Momoa's
Yes.
Aquaman. So Aquaman goes to sleep in a puddle.
Right outside Barry Allen's apartment.
yeah.
And he's like, I am home, isn't he? He goes to sleep in a gigantic puddle.
Jeremy Irons returns.
He does, which
Always
is
a
nice to
pleasure
see
to
him.
Love
Yes,
Jeremy Irons.
great,
and everything,
great
so that's
actor.
good. Michael Shannon.
But yeah, I was glad to see him, even though I
Why
don't
so?
think I do like Michael Shannon. I especially liked him as Zod. I
Sure.
thought he was a fantastic character to take over from Terence Stamp,
Sure.
because I loved Terence
we all
Stamp
love
as
Terrence
Zod.
Stamp, yeah.
You know, kneel before me, Superman.
Sure.
Um,
He's got a certain menace.
Yeah,
Michael
and he is
Shannon.
very. And I did like the fact that Michael Shannon was even more menacing as Zod. He was a general that basically didn't care what he had to do to secure the Kryptonian, way of life.
Yeah, the legacy.
The legacy of their people.
Sure.
So in a way, he wasn't really. I suppose he is a bad guy, but he also had good intentions of trying to, continue their people.
You can. I don't think. Yeah, he's a genocidal maniac, regardless whichever way you spin it. But you can understand his motivations.
Yeah, because I think us as human beings, if we could find another planet and terraform it, we would do it.
I think we're trying to do that, aren't we?
Yeah. So in a way, we are all Zod. That's it. That's the
There we
hashtag.
are.
We are all Zod.
Nice to see Morrison return as Aquaman's dad.
Oh, Tamora Morrison.
Tamora Morrison.
Have you ever met Tamora
I
Morrison?
don't know. I might have.
I've met him twice,
Okay.
and I took a picture for
Do you
my
wanna meet him
cousin
again
with
in
him.
a couple of weeks.
I would love to. Is he
Okay,
there?
He's there. Yeah.
Oh, I would love to, because
Okay.
I took pictures of.
None of our listeners are going to understand this.
when Attack of the Clones came out, I took photos of him with my cousin, and we met him twice, and each time I took a blurry picture.
Oh no!
So he never got a nice
So you
clip.
got two.
I've
You
got two pictures of my
We're going to have to
cousin.
try a third.
I've got two pictures of my cousin with
third
him.
time's the charm.
See, if you take it of me
Okay.
with him, I'm sure it'll come out crystal clear.
Well, we'll see about that. Just to say about other characters
Right.
coming up. So Ron Livingston replaces Billy Crudup as Billy's
Crudup. Yeah, Billy Crudup.
as Billy's imprisoned father.
Not so fond of him.
I love.
I like
Ron
a bit of
Livingston.
Crudup.
I love Ron
Bit of Dr.
Livingston and
Manhattan.
everything. He's if you ever see Office Space, we're gonna have to do an episode on Office
Right,
Space.
I don't think I've seen him in much.
Oh, he's so good. Maribel Verdú stars as Nora Allen, who is Barry's mother. She is an amazing actor, and it's so good to see her in such a big property as this. She was in E.T. Mami Tambien, which is an Alfonso Cuarón movie.
Right.
Absolutely sterling.
I have never seen her in anything.
Also starring Diego Luna and Gail Bernal. Superb. Thoroughly recommend that movie as a complete aside.
Oh, what's his name?
Gail Garcia Bernal.
Yeah. He was.
Fantastic actor.
Oh,
You don't
God,
like
he's
him?
a brilliant actor.
He's excellent.
Do you know what they did with him with the film The Mother on Netflix? They
don't know.
literally stuck him in a corner and did nothing with him. And I'm
That's a
like,
shame.
you've got him in this film, and you're just not
It's a
using him.
waste. Yeah, really. Just as an aside, that movie E.T. Mama Tambien is fantastic. Probably viewers who like The Flash will hate that movie. So
I would think so, because the people that like The Flash are going to be like me, aren't they?
okay, well, you might enjoy it. I don't know. How to broach this? So there's Christopher Reeve, George Reeves, and Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
Appear in this film as various forms of Superman.
You forgot Supergirl.
Well, okay, sure. Homegirl Helen Slater turns up as Supergirl. How do you feel about the three Supermen in this instance, though? You also get a bit of Cavill in there as well, don't you?
Do you? I
Yeah, a
never
little
saw
bit,
him.
because he's sort of on the TVs doing stuff.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes, you get CG Cavill, don't you?
He's still in it.
In the funny
In the funny,
chronosphere thing. Chronoball?
Time ball
Yeah.
thing.
Chrono something it's called.
Okay.
Yes.
So how do you feel about those?
I liked seeing Christopher Reeve.
Yeah. He's
I
my
like
Superman.
Yeah, he's great. I love to see him that. Obviously, I don't really know George Reeve. I mean, I know of him, but
He was in black and white, which I thought was quite nice.
yes, that was good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I missed the Adam West cameo.
Was he in it?
Apparently,
Where
I
was
missed
he?
that one.
Where
I
was
don't
he?
know. I saw the old Batman, like the old 50s Batman or 40s Batman that they showed in one of the spheres, but I never saw Adam West in the film. But I mean, there was so much going on
There
at
was
that
so
end
much.
scene.
I didn't realise that he was even in it.
And obviously we need to talk about the Nicolas Cage scene.
Please.
The one with the giant spider scorpion thing.
The snare beast.
Yes. If it had been actually Nicolas Cage,
I knew about this.
I would have really lost it.
No, there was a performance capture thing, and they just put his face on top of it.
Right.
So I think he's actually in there.
Oh, he actually captured it.
But the hair and the young face and all the rest of it is all CGI.
Oh, I could have lost my,
Careful.
lost my marbles.
Lost your Krypton.
Yes. Well, I loved seeing that.
I knew about it going in because I had it ruined for me.
Oh, what a shame.
But I was saying, like, you just don't look at who's in this.
And do you know what I love right at the end where you see the balls, like the Chronos balls of each different and you see
layer.
Nicolas Cage looking out as it sort of disappears.
Beautiful.
And I thought that was such a great
It's
touch.
so funny, so strange.
Strange, weird,
It's
yeah.
so good. Because that storyboard of him with the snare beast thing,
Yes.
with the eyes and the screaming is part of the actual storyboard from that
Yes.
they were going to originally shoot.
And
which
this was the John Peters spider obsession.
John Peters,
Giant
Tim Burton, Kevin Smith, Superman Lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think it would be great if they actually made an animated version of it? Since they can't actually make a live action now.
Yeah, that would be
Get
amazing.
Nicolas Cage and
To
actually
voice
do
it.
the likeness of Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, sure.
And then get him to voice it.
Yeah, I mean,
and do the story.
They were going to have like Chris Rock as Jimmy Olsen as well, right? So you could.
Were they?
Yeah, they were going to have all these different people in it.
Right.
So why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would.
Wasn't Christopher Walken going to be Brainiac?
Was he?
Wasn't he?
I don't know.
I can't remember. I love that the death of Superman.
I know that
cannot
Brainiac
remember.
was going to be in it, wasn't he?
I think he was going to be the main guy in it.
Yeah. I think they should do
If
that.
an animated version of that would be
be
amazing.
fantastic, wouldn't
And if James Gunn, go for it.
Maybe I could send James Gunn a tweet.
Go ahead. See what happens.
Well, he does
Be
like
sure to get a producer credit somewhere in there for doing this. Make sure you get paid for it. So before we get on to
the main star,
the main man,
the big bad man,
George Clooney.
Yes, fresh off his Nespresso advert. Literally, he'd got off the plane straight from Italy.
Sure.
Because he was on the Riviera. You know he was in one of those boats.
Yeah.
You know one of those boats like in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Those wooden boats.
Gondolas or
No, not the gondolas. The wood thing. Where they've got the wood fronts.
Sure.
Remember, there's that scene.
The wooden hull.
Yeah, the wooden
Right.
hull. Those really elegant looking like 40s.
Sure.
That's what he got off. He got off one of them. He
Sure.
got straight on a plane and he went to Gotham. And I thought it was fantastic to see George
It was
Clooney.
lovely.
It's lovely.
Was not expecting
And
that
I just
at all.
love the fact that Barry Allen swears and he goes like, "Who the F are you?"
Who the F are you? Yeah,
and George
exactly.
Clooney's like, "What's the matter, Barry?"
Yeah, we've been working. Yeah, he winds up at the end of the movie. He winds up in a different timeline, doesn't he?
Yes.
In which George Clooney's Batman is
I
Batman,
thought
and
that
not
was
Michael
wonderful.
Keaton, and not
Yes.
Ben Affleck. So,
Yeah, I thought
I
that's-
did. Sorry.
It was brilliant. I loved that.
Yeah. Elephant in the room, then.
Ah, the elephant in the room, Keaton.
Take it away.
Right. I have been a fan of the original Batman film for 34 years. I've been watching it.
Sure.
So this is my OG Batman.
He's my Batman.
Yeah, this is my Batman.
We'll talk at length about the other one because I thought it'd be good to
Yeah.
build up to
Yeah.
Michael Keaton.
I can't say I really liked how we joined Bruce Wayne.
I love it.
Him
He's a
being
bit of a
all
hermit.
Christian
Bale was a hermit in The Dark Knight
But
Rises.
he didn't look
though.
as bad. He looked more hermity.
Right.
You know,
okay.
Michael Keaton just looks like he's wearing a wig and a bad beard.
He is.
He's just wearing a stuck-on beard.
He's
you know,
making terrible pasta.
and he's making horrible pasta, and he can't even be bothered to wear socks. He's just walking around in flip-flops. That's not
Jandals.
That's not how I really want to see my Batman.
That's not my Batman. He's still my Batman. That is
He
a
is
pleasure to
Batman
see
after
him.
he clears himself. You know, cleans himself up.
It's quite wonderful to see septuagenarian Michael Keaton
I
beating
think this is
people
what.
up.
Yeah, I think this is actually what would have happened though, because obviously Alfred was quite old in
Michael Gough, yeah.
So he's gone, and now Michael Keaton can't look after himself because he said in the original film, "I couldn't find my socks without Alfred," and he literally couldn't because that's why he's wearing flip flop.
That's why he's wearing jandals. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, I think this is what we were going to see of Bruce Wayne anyway. That he was going to be a sort of recluse.
Messed up
and
recluse.
He wasn't really needed anymore in his own universe, was he?
I guess not.
I think it was basically I've just retired because
My work is done.
Yeah, my work is done. Which I thought was a nice ending for
Lovely.
him rather than the ending of like him being killed and, you know, sort of like the Dark Knight Returns idea.
Sure. So you prefer this ending as opposed to, say, like bumming into Alfred in an Italian cafe after setting off a nuke.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I prefer this ending. And Batman dies a hero. So whatever happens, he explodes and he saves the world, or he
Saves Gotham.
Yeah, he saves Gotham from Zod, or he'll die. He'll just die. Although he doesn't save it from Zod, does he? Or does he blow up the ship or something? He does something to save somebody, doesn't he? He makes a sacrifice.
Are we talking about the Dark Knight Rises still?
No. The in this film, in Flash,
In the Flash,
Michael Keaton he crashes his
ship.
Batwing
Yeah.
for a reason, doesn't he?
Oh.
I'm finding it hard because there was so much going on in
It's a
that
bit
film.
of
There's
a
so much to
sensory
take in.
So he sort of kamikazes his Batwing.
And then the second time that he dies, he lays there and dies a hero.
He dies a hero
in the
after
Flash's
beating
arms.
up a giant robot creature, Kryptonian.
Oh no,
giant
that's the
thing.
that is the one from the Superman 2, the Richard Donner Superman 2, who is the mute one.
Right.
That's who he is. I can't remember what his name is.
The design of these things are terrible.
There's Zod and there's
again.
Feora.
Sure,
I think her name is.
Yeah.
She's the second in command woman, isn't she?
But they did so much better in Superman 2.
Yeah, they did, because at least.
And I didn't know who the evil Flash time distorted fella, old man Flash was. So these designs are terrible.
I thought he was supposed to be Reverse Flash, but apparently he's one that's been made up. That he's an amalgamation of Reverse Flash and Dark. He's called just Dark Flash, I think.
Tweaks on him, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, he just had bits of stuff on him. Yeah,
bits of stuff.
I thought that was actually quite disappointing, that reveal.
Yeah. I genuinely didn't understand it. Some they go,
and he didn't come into it enough for you to keep wanting to know who he was.
Right.
So he comes in it once when at the sort of midway through it,
Yeah.
and then you kind of forget about him.
And knocks him out of the
Yeah,
time.
and then you kind of forget about him.
Yeah.
And then it's not till the end after the big fight
he's
is on.
looming.
Yeah.
You know he's looming somewhere in the time.
But he needs to come up a few more times to actually sort of make you think, oh yes, this guy actually is currently in this movie.
Yeah, and he's kind of looking over things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it
and by the time you've seen the action-packed scene with Zod and all the action and all the great stuff that's going on there, you've forgotten about that other character because you're focusing on that.
Yeah.
So I think that was a little bit
lacks a bit of focus.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah.
But knowing the ordeal in which the production of this and the meddling and the interference and stuff like that,
we knew it was going to be a mess, didn't we?
We all knew it was going to be a mess.
Yeah, we knew it was
to
gonna
make
be
it
a
as fun as they did is a bit of a triumph.
I've got to admit, although the film is a complete mess, I really like it. I can't wait to see it again.
Yeah, I
really can't wait to see it again.
Ezra Miller, it's an interesting performance. He's achingly annoying at times.
Yes.
Their voice in particular can be very annoying. It's a decent physical performance, to be fair. The character of Barry Allen and the Flash, also quite an annoying character. But there's enough charm in there to engage
and he is
with.
very funny as well. So although he's a bit annoying, such as they are a bit annoying.
The super sprint effect thingy is okay, but it does look like Ezra Miller is literally jogging on a running track.
Yeah, I don't like that.
A green screen.
I didn't like... when he starts to go in through the time and he starts to sort of go... I don't like that.
No.
It loses the sense of speed and it makes... like you said, it looks like he's
running
just
on a track
running on the
screen.
spot or something.
Yeah, on a green screen or something. There are some instances where either Barry looks CG'd onto a body when they share a screen. The CG.
I noticed one of the scenes where him and where themselves are sitting in the Batwing,
right?
And he looks over at the young Barry Allen,
at the 2013 Barry Allen,
who's wearing like the Batman mask as his Flash.
He is. That's
and that looks really dodgy, doesn't it? Some of the CG there. I did notice that.
Daredevil, I thought in that instance.
Yes, it was a bit. It was a bit. I thought they took a gamble. I knew that they had to put these other people in the film because they could not run this whole film on Ezra Miller's... He's not a big enough star to actually put the whole film on his shoulders.
That's a good point, sure.
And that's nothing to do with his acting.
No,
it's
by
just
no means.
that he's not...
If you ever see We Need to Talk About Kevin...
I want to see that.
Incredible.
Yeah, I want to see
not
that.
Not solely because of him, but he's really good in it.
Yeah.
So, he can be really good. He isn't always obnoxious.
Yeah. Maybe that is the character of the Flash. I mean, I don't really know.
Right.
I mean, I know Deadpool is an obnoxious character, and he's supposed to be.
But if you look at something like I love Jesse Eisenberg.
Yes.
And when he was announced as Lex Luthor, I thought that's a really interesting choice because
Yeah.
you've got him as Mark Zuckerberg in The Social Network. If he just does that as Lex Luthor, that's perfect. He's the most obnoxious performance in that whole movie.
He is, yeah. And I've seen him in lots of films where I've liked him, fine.
Well, we're going to have a nice little double bill next week.
Eisenberg.
So let's just talk about the CGI then.
Okay, where do we start?
Bewilderingly horrible for a summer blockbuster movie of this type of...
Okay.
Do you not think?
Well, to be honest, in this day and age, when you
I
are
think
looking at films like Avatar: Way of Water...
Which is incredible. It's a CGI movie. The CGI in that is realistic. It's perfect.
Is. Yeah. It
and
literally is.
You have this.
And then you've got this. And even this compared to other films, still, the CG is better.
Sure.
You look at Zack Snyder's.
And
and he's got a glossy CG-ish look about his film, a shiny look.
Not
but
always
it's
perfect
still,
in his movies, but much better.
But much better than what we're
this.
talking about here. The babies look terrible.
Horrendous.
But I quite like that.
Sure.
It was part of the
think
charm
if
of
they
the...
had photorealistic babies with scalpels and being put in the microwave, I think people would have left the cinema. So yeah, sure, it works in this instance.
And I think when he goes in time and you see this sort of... It's almost like an amphitheatre, isn't it? Where you've got the seats. It's almost like seats, rows upon rows going up.
It's like
a
rings,
theatre.
Isn't it? Yeah, like a big dome theatre or something.
Yeah, like a dome theatre with all these people coming round in
like
of all the different...
Colosseum or something.
And it's... I don't know if the CG is supposed to look surreal because he is in a time zone, so everything's supposed to look a bit weird and dodgy.
Off.
Yeah, a bit off.
Right.
Because I cannot see that CG really would have been that bad. I think the bits with Ezra Miller and with themselves, I think those bits are just dodgy CG.
Sure.
But is the actual Chronoverse thing that he goes into, the time travel, is it supposed to look stylised like that? Because everything looks like that.
I suspect no. I just think my suspicion is that they had 100 animators working 100 hours a day.
Yeah,
and
for no pay.
For no money.
Yeah.
And this is the consequence. And they had to rush it out.
Yeah.
That's my feeling.
Well, this is the problem. This is the same thing that Marvel is encountering, where Marvel are now saying they're getting rid of a few property things that they're going to release because
the CG animators just can't keep.
They can't, and also they're not having time to write decent stories.
Well, they're not. They're going into production without scripts in some instances. I know somebody who actually works.
You do, yeah.
Yeah, and they are literally going into production without script, with outlines of scripts and knowing that they're going to
have a treatment.
This set piece, this set piece, and this set piece. You need to really work out what your script is before you go
exactly. Unless you're dealing with somebody like Jim Carrey or somebody like Robin Williams, where you could probably go into a film without you could have a loose script,
right?
And then they would be able to ad-lib.
Right. We were talking about Ghostbusters Answer the Call yesterday night. That you've got like 4 or 5 really good ad-libbers, and they could not save that movie.
No, I know they couldn't.
So yeah,
but Robin Williams, when his appointments in
one of the great
in Aladdin, most of the things he said in Aladdin were ad-lib.
Sure.
So, and most of the things Jim Carrey says in Lemony Snicket is ad-libbed.
Right. But with the exception of, I would say you could probably argue that the fact that the story of Aladdin is pretty much timeless, and you kind of know how you're going to get from A to B to C.
Yeah.
Lemony Snicket is based on a popular novel. Chances are you know how you're going to get from A, B to C.
Okay.
Adding Jim Carrey into the mix, adding Robin Williams in the mix is only going to make.
But also, you've got talent that actually can carry that.
Sure. Whereas I don't. If with Ghostbusters Answer the Call and a certain, certainly these Marvel properties and things like that, I don't think if you don't know how you're going to get from A to B to C, throwing in good ad-libbers isn't really going to save you.
Oh no.
That's my feeling.
No, yeah. Unless you've got a solid story that's been worked on and chiseled away and worked all the ruffles out of it.
Sure.
And I think there's too many films that are coming out, especially the superhero ones and the big IPs.
Yeah.
With all the fan service that is coming out. They've got no idea what they're really doing. They just want to present us with.
I think it's just shareholders. They just have to knock out product.
Yeah, maybe.
And then the idiots like ourselves are going to go out and watch it.
Well, they put somebody like Michael Keaton in, and they know that people like me are going to go and see it.
People like us.
Yeah, people like us of that age that grew up with him.
Batman. You could probably argue that Kevin Conroy, but in terms of
Yeah.
Yeah, this is our Batman,
Yeah,
right?
this is our Batman.
This will likely always be our Batman.
This will. OG Batman.
I'd say probably again, back to the CGI. Christopher Reeve isn't bad.
No, I thought he looked okay.
Helen Slater's okay.
Yeah.
George Reeves looks great.
Well, to be honest, George Reeves, I mean, I've seen him, but I can't really say that, like, I've watched films with him or anything,
Okay.
so that I know his face really well.
Right.
Christopher Reeve's face, obviously, I do know
thought it
really
was
well.
good.
So,
I don't
yeah.
think it was too bad.
I don't think Nicolas Cage's face was too bad.
I didn't think it was great.
I mean, obviously, they de-aged him.
Sure.
Because
you have to.
Yeah, exactly. Because he can't be,
He's
getting
like-
on for 60 Nicolas Cage.
Well, he's in his 60s, isn't he?
Is he in his 60s? I don't know. His
suspect
beard's
so.
jet black. His hair and his beard's jet black.
Well, that's that Italian gene, isn't
It
it?
is. Of course it is.
Verdict.
Well, for somebody like me, this movie is big, but it
It's a
is
mess.
awful.
It's a messy movie. but
It's an awful film that I am going to buy,
Yeah,
and whenever I
suspect I will
feel
as well.
crap, I am going to literally put it on and just cheer myself up
I couldn't agree with you more.
with 2 hours of just...
Yeah, it's a rainy day movie.
It is.
Yeah.
It is great.
And
It's probably
it's-
one of those movies that, like, when you get flu, and you think, I feel so awful, and you're stuck in bed, and you
Yeah.
think, I'm going to put Flash on.
Yeah,
This is going to cheer me.
mine are Amelie
Right.
and Grand Budapest.
Right.
So if you ever see them pop up on my letterbox,
Yeah.
I'm having a bad day.
Okay. See, for me,
What are yours?
Well, one of mine is a Lego Movie 2.
Sure.
Is one that I always put on. I think last time I was ill, my wife said to me, "Why don't you watch the Lego movies?" And I'm like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah, they always cheer you up. They're going to make you feel better. So just
God, they just hit the spot. Don't
yeah,
they?
they do. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Comfort
It's
comfort
a
viewing.
Fun, fine, distressing, and confusing time.
It is.
I'm up for seeing it again. Let's play a game.
Okay.
Guess the superhero movie from the IMDb Parents Guide description. I've chosen 3 tricky titles to test your mettle. A demon is shot repeatedly. His head is shot off. It grows back. He is shot again, and he splatters into many small, tar-looking fragments that begin to slither and writhe back towards his spinal column. What's the superhero movie? These are tricky ones. I'm testing you this time, honey.
Oh, sugar.
Oh, sugar.
See, when you said demon, I thought Black Adam.
Is that your answer?
Well, Black Adam is... there's obviously another film with... I don't remember that bit where this thing slithers back.
A demon is shot repeatedly. His head is shot off. It grows back.
No,
he is
the-
shot again, and
the
he
demon's-
splatters into many small
The demon's head
tar-looking
doesn't fall off
fragments
in Black Adam, so...
that begin to slither and writhe back towards its spinal
Oh,
column.
I don't know.
It's Ghost Rider.
Really? Oh,
We're going deep with this one.
God, that movie. Oh,
Also starring Nicolas Cage.
I hated it.
A spy bites into a cyanide pill and dies, foaming at the mouth. What's the film? This is a bit more, probably more your street.
This is a Marvel film, isn't it?
This is a Marvel film.
Yes, I know what one it is. It's Captain America. The thingy, the first Avenger.
Spot on.
It's, what's his name? It's the one who plays the dwarf in The Hobbit. I can't remember his name.
A man runs while being chased by police and dogs. He punches a dog. We hear it whimper and see it fall to the ground. He climbs a fence and falls into a pit where a molecular experiment is being conducted that breaks him down into particles. What's the film?
Spider-Man 3.
There you are! It's the Sandman.
You...
Well done.
Is that everything?
That's the 3.
I didn't do too bad.
You did really well. You got
Yeah.
2 of the 3.
It's been years since I watched Ghost Rider. I try and avoid it like the plague. I
Have you
hate
seen
it.
the second one?
Yeah, it's awful.
It's got Idris Elba?
Yeah,
I don't think I ever
didn't
seen
like it.
Okay.
No, I didn't like
I
it.
think I ever saw
I
it.
don't like either of the Ghost Rider
It's
films.
made by the guy who did, the guys who did Crank, isn't it? The second one.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I can see it.
Can you believe?
I can see the manic way that goes, because I do quite like how Ghost Rider turns into. He goes quite insane in that one.
Batman is a 1989 superhero film based on a DC Comics character of the same name, directed by Tim Burton. It is the first instalment of Warner Brothers' initial Batman film series. A difficult shoot, a critical success, and a cultural landmark, grossing over $400 million from a $48 million budget, grabbing the Best Art Direction Oscar along the way, spawning one great sequel, many video games, and leading to a massively important animated series. A quick synopsis. Investigative journalist duo Alexander Knox and Vicky Vale look into sightings of the masked vigilante known as Batman, who is roughing up the ruffians of Gotham City. The pair meet reclusive bajillionaire Bruce Wayne, who happens to secretly be Batman, and Wayne falls voluptuous Vale.
Beautiful.
Meanwhile, mob scumbag Carl Grissom sends his vicious lackey Jack Napier to steal some naughty evidence from Axis Chemicals. Things go quickly, horribly awry. See, Grissom had concocted this scenario to have Napier killed. And when Police Commissioner Gordon and Batman turn up, Napier suffers a fall into a vat of chemicals, horribly disfiguring him. Driven insane by his new look, he calls himself the Joker and kills Grissom. The Joker soon begins a campaign of terror upon Gotham and also falls for the voluptuous Vale. Bruce deduces that it was Napier who killed his parents, and all hell breaks loose, leading to an epic standoff involving a parade, a rooftop, an awesome grappling hook, a broken gargoyle, and a dead Joker. What do you think of Batman 89?
What do I think of? Well, this is probably my second favourite movie ever.
I'm just going to mic down and let you talk.
This is my second favourite. Next to the original 1977 Star Wars, this is my second favourite movie.
Fine. Why so?
Because I just love it. I have wonderful nostalgic
What
memories
do you love about
of it.
What aspects do you love
Right.
about it?
Well, when it came out, there was nothing like it.
Sure.
It was so dark.
Sure.
There was no superhero film because before that we'd had Superman, which was which a very more of a light-hearted sort of
Brighter.
brighter type film, and this was so dark.
Yeah.
It was the first 12 certificate in this country.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, and at the time I was 12
Right.
when it came out,
You
but I
didn't see
wasn't allowed to see it.
Oh, I
Because-
was far too young. I was not able to see it.
Well,
based on-
my cousin was 8 at the time, and because he couldn't see it, I couldn't see it.
Right.
So my uncle Stephen he worked offshore, and he was up in Scotland, and he decided to go to the cinema to see it, and he felt so guilty, riddled with guilt, that 6 months later when it came out on video, he hired the video from the video shop for 3 solid days.
Wow.
So nobody in that village
So you could just
could get
OD
to
on
Batman. So you think about where he lived, the people were like, oh, maybe I'll hire... No, you won't.
I see this massive blockbuster.
No, sorry, that film's completely out.
Yeah, Stephen's got it.
And we watched it. We must have watched it. Me and my cousin must have watched it about 9 times in that 3 days.
Crikey.
We would watch it about 3 times a day.
No sleep, no sleep, no sleep, no sleep.
And it was just amazing. I want to ask you, did you ever see Michael Keaton on the big screen as Batman?
No,
Or is this
I
the
was
first?
too young.
This is the first time
Yeah,
you didn't see him in Batman Returns?
Batman Returns as well. Yeah, I only saw it on video.
Oh, what a shame!
I think I saw Batman Returns on satellite TV. I didn't get the VHS, but I got me and my friend Paul used to watch certainly I watched it first with him.
Yeah.
And then again with the neighbours' kids.
I mean, also
but
because
I was too young to see Batman Returns as
But
well.
you were around when all the hoo-ha was going on, all the posters, the car. You know, I mean, I had a poster
sure.
in my bedroom of Michael Keaton standing by the Batmobile,
Yeah,
which
for
was
sure.
incredible.
It was the talk of the playground. Wasn't
Exactly,
it?
yeah.
But it was.
I mean, I
was
wish
too
I
young-
had that poster because
I
it
was
was
too young to see either of them in the cinema, but I saw them on VHS
Oh,
and
right.
on television when
Right.
it was
Well, I was really miffed at the time because I couldn't learn my times table, and my auntie, in an attempt to try and get me to memorise it, I used to have all posters all over my... So I had Beetlejuice, I had Gremlins on my wall, I had Batman. She went and covered them all up with times tables.
Oh, that's terrible.
And they were all over the poster. And she'd say, you have to learn the times table first, and then I will take the sheet down off of the poster. So she put 2 sheets over Michael Keaton and the Batmobile, and I could, for months, I couldn't see my poster. It's not going in, so maybe if you are forced to look at it and learn it, if you really want to see that poster again and you want to see all your movie posters.
I think I terminated the Hellraiser and Back to the Future when I was a
Right.
kid. I didn't.
Well, we were very lucky because our video shop always used to save us posters for us.
Oh, that's cool.
So we had, we'd had the Beetlejuice poster and all sorts of things. I had an Abyss poster and all
Wow. These things would be worth.
They would,
hundreds
yeah,
nowadays.
yeah, they really would. It's a shame,
Indeed. Go on.
Well, this is my Batman.
This is your.
This
Batman.
is what I grew up with.
Right.
This movie is ultimately quotable.
Yes.
I mean, when you were talking
Really
about
cheesy.
Jack,
That's
when you were
really
talking about
cheesy.
Jack Napier and that, I wanted to shout, "Hey, Eckhart, think about the future."
Sure.
And when you were talking about Grissom, you are my number one guy. So he's so.
I love the look of it. I think that was the thing that got me when I was a kid.
Yes, and
I've never seen quite anything
and the other
like
thing
that.
I like about it, watching it back now after you've seen so many superhero films, is that this film is a real comic book film. It is really not in this world. They're not trying
I don't
to.
know if it's comic book, more graphic novel, maybe.
Yeah, maybe, but they're not trying to say, "Look, this is real life."
No.
They are
it's very
complete. They are
cartoonish.
saying,
Yeah,
"Look
definitely.
here, this is a completely different world. These are not real people."
It's one of the best looking
And-
worlds I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, we're not talking about The Dark Knight here, where you feel that Batman is a real person that lives in a real
He's
world.
living in Chicago.
Yeah, you don't feel that with this film, and
No.
I like that. I like the fact that Joker is so theatrical. I actually like this Joker because although I like Heath Ledger's performance, I like the fact with this Jack Nicholson Joker that he is more of a comedian and he's a bit more nuts. And he's not nuts he's nuts in a psycho way, and he's also nuts in a loony way, like talking to him. Like you didn't really see Heath Ledger talking to himself in Bat, where you actually see scenes where Jack Nicholson is just like talking to corpses.
He does have some interesting moments with himself, like when he's testing the battery before blowing up the hospital in The Dark Knight. He does have a sort of
he has those quirky moments.
Yeah, but nothing on this level.
Yeah,
and Jack Nicholson steals every scene in which he appears.
His performance is very similar to The Witches of Eastwick. In a lot of ways.
Yeah, maybe.
So I wonder if he did bring a little bit of Daryl Van Horn from The Witches of Eastwick.
They're different performances, but there are similarities.
Yes, similarities of the quirkiness and the wackiness.
Yeah.
But obviously Jack Nicholson knows how to play mental because he did One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, didn't he?
And
So,
indeed Jack Torrance.
Exactly, yeah. So he knows
He knows how to do crazy.
He really does. Michael Keaton as Batman, I love him as Batman, even though he's not a really tough Batman.
Right.
He's not a big Batman. He's not a strong Batman.
Well, okay. I've got a point about that. I think that leads into the Bat costume.
Okay.
Never seen anything like that when I was a baby kid. And there hasn't really, unless you're about to correct me, there hasn't really been a likewise interpretation of a popular comics character like this since. Nobody's done a character design quite like this since, right?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
It's menacing. It makes 5'8" Bruce Wayne look like a 6'10" tank.
Yes.
Human tank of sculpted muscles and glaring eyes and masculine jaw lines, I suppose.
And in the new film, when he's wearing his new outfit, he kind of looks a bit boxy.
He looks hench.
Yeah, he looks really boxy. Like his shoulders look really fixed and
again a human tank, but nothing like this.
Yeah.
And all this, the sculpted muscles, the glaring eyes, the masculine jaw, bones, and all that. And he drives around in a giant dinkle with a beautiful.
See, I knew you were going to look. You were going to look deeper into it.
With a beautiful protracted head on the end of it.
That's not how I see it. I see it as like a missile.
Sure.
It's almost like a missile on the front.
I see a giant dinkle.
Where are you spending your nights?
It's not your Adam West campy kiddie comic.
I think that's what Tim Burton needed to get away from.
Metropolis.
Yeah, he needed to get right away from that.
You can feel the crime and the scumbags in the alleyways and all that kind of stuff.
Because
however, it is still really campy.
Yeah, it is campy in a way, but the problem was that they had to get away from the 60s, the 66 Batman, because Batman was a bit of a joke.
It was
on the screen as far as
Yeah, boom. Yeah.
With comic fans, of course, obviously Batman wasn't, but people that were just casual fans that watched Batman would just be
people
like...
who knew Batman was
a silly character.
would have known Adam West's Batman.
Yeah,
and would have known the silly sound effects.
Yeah, kapow, boom, and all that,
Joker defacing the museum, the cheesy quotes.
Yes.
This town needs an enema.
Oh, what about Jesus Marimba?
Indeed, the silly exchanges maybe.
I do love all those
It is all somehow sublime and ridiculous.
It is.
Which I love.
Do you have a favourite scene in this film, or favourite scenes? Because I do have a couple that I absolutely adore.
Yeah, for sure. Certainly, I've just mentioned the Joker defacing the museum. I've never seen anything like that.
With Prince, we'll get onto that.
With Prince and is it? Yeah, and also there's a fight between Batman and henchmen in the top of the bell tower.
Are you talking about the black dude? The
big,
really tough black dude?
The tough black henchman, and the Joker is dancing around in the background.
Yes.
Love it.
That's fantastic, isn't it? And he really
favourites.
beats the crap out of Batman too.
He beats him to a pulp.
Yeah. I mean, this guy is like Bobby Brown.
Oh, God.
I'm not saying he...
Chris Brown.
No, I mean, like, he's like Bobby Brown, tough.
Sure.
Like a tough...
Yeah,
I mean, where has Joker been keeping him?
That's a good point. Why keep him just for this?
Yeah, because you forgot all these other ones that are just so stupid. And I also like Bob. Do you like Bob?
I love Bob.
He's so patient, isn't he, with the Joker?
there's something kind of rednecky and
Yeah.
nasty about
And because he's his old, he's
Crony.
his old crony friend.
Yeah.
He sort of puts up with a lot of this new Joker garbage.
He is the Smithers to the birds.
He is. My favourite scenes are, I love the bit where the Batmobile is driving to the Batcave.
Yeah, definitely.
And you've got all the leaves and that score by Danny Elfman.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
I love the bit where the Batmobile goes into access chemicals.
Yeah,
And then as
definitely.
it's driving out, there's all those explosions. I mean,
It's awesome.
that was one of the bits in the
yeah.
trailer that really got you watching and think like, oh my god, that
When
was
I was a really little kid watching this for the first time, that kind of blew me away. I remember.
and obviously the parade at the end with what is it? Trust.
Yeah.
Because I love that song.
Sure.
Hubba hubba hubba, money money money. Who do you trust?
Okay, so so there's a score and a soundtrack for this film,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. One by Prince,
one by
which is
Prince,
astounding.
which is brilliant.
Brilliant. Yeah.
And Danny Elfman, who is collaborating with Tim Burton again after Beetlejuice.
Yes.
Who composed the most iconic theme.
It is
for
Batman's theme.
It is Batman's theme.
Du-du-du-du-du.
It is used
That is-
in The Flash.
Yes, and it is used in the
In Justice
animated
League.
series.
Is Justice League as well, right?
No, I don't think so.
Is it not? I
No.
think it is.
Is
Isn't
it?
Oh, okay. I might be wrong.
Oh,
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
Sure. But as you say, the animated series.
The animated series.
Yeah.
And of course, if it wasn't for this film, we wouldn't have the animated series, which is actually considered one of the best Batman properties of all time.
Yeah. I mean, I've already said about Michael Keaton being I suppose Michael Keaton being my visual Batman,
Right.
my human Batman, but
Right.
Kevin Conroy will
Oh
always
yes,
be...
will always be. If you're reading a comic, you're
Yeah.
always going to hear Kevin Conroy's voice.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the words out of my mouth.
He is Batman.
Yeah.
He is the voice of
He's
Batman.
the voice of Batman,
Yeah.
whereas perhaps Michael Keaton is the face of Batman.
Yes.
If that makes any
Yeah.
sense to you.
It definitely does, because it's the same with me.
Sure, there's a duality that kind of leads into the theme of duality. In
I mean,
general.
I said to my wife when the animated series came out on Blu-ray a couple of years ago, I said I've got to have that, and she's like, it's like like £60, so it's like about $80 or something.
of money.
And I'm like, yep, I'm gonna get it. I have to get it. I have to have it. It's part of my childhood.
Yeah, what's the one with Dr. Freeze that was?
Oh, there was a movie, Sub-Zero, with Dr.
There
Freeze.
was like either an episode. It was like nominated for an Emmy or something like that.
Oh, Heart of Ice, maybe?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah,
Something
a very famous episode, Heart of Ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To the
Dr.
point where it's
Freeze,
getting, like, Emmys
Dr.
and
Freeze
stuff.
or Mr. Freeze was
Mr.
one of
Freeze
the
or Dr. Freeze, sure.
one of the better villains in.
You're not sending me to the cooler. Story of duality, Bruce Wayne's dual identity, and the yin-yang battle between Batman and
Do you
Joker.
like the 50s aesthetic to the film? 40s, 50s?
I don't know. There's a kind of... There's certainly... he worked with Anton First. He was trying to get Anton First for Beetlejuice and he couldn't get
Right.
him. Tim Burton.
Yeah.
And he executed that vision perfectly. There's a sort of beautiful architectural mix, isn't there, of like... with indeed sort of German expressionist kind of the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Right.
And Fritz Lang's boring masterpiece Metropolis. There's that influence to it as well, but there's this kind of cool mix of architectural movements and styles, which help to shape that Gotham,
Yes.
giving it a sort of fragmented, ugly feel. That kind of brutalist with this kind of fascistic kind of architectural.
Yeah.
European
I do like
mix.
the fact that like all the people are all sort of, they all wear suits. The
Sure.
gangsters all wear suits. It's
But I think that mix of styles, that kind of brutal with that kind of fascistic, as I say, European kind of mix of styles, does kind of colour its inhabitants.
It does, yeah.
And you do get these kind of
It's very gritty as
mobby scumbags
Yeah,
and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I love that kind of thing, as you probably have just understood. Mixed with that kind of German expressionistic kind of stuff. I love the look of...
One thing I did like about this film is in the same aspects as you have in Beetlejuice, there are fantastic set pieces.
Yeah, it's a really good mix of substance and style.
Yeah.
There's not style over substance at all.
No,
the
no.
style kind of fits into this. Gives
Yeah.
it, you know, that.
I mean, the bit in the museum where Batman comes through the skylight,
Yeah,
that's a fantastic
So
scene.
cool.
And, you know, the Joker's just like, where does he get all those toys? You know, those cool toys and
there
that.
are
I
some
think it's
cool
brilliant.
lines for sure. Bruce Wayne is again going back into the duality thing. Joker and Batman are polar opposites
Yes.
in outlook and in temperament. Bruce Wayne is the pinnacle billionaire, you know, boy king fella of high society, but he's also the outcast like vigilante.
Yes.
Yeah, there's that kind of neat.
Yeah.
He's on either side of the sort of social spectrum and law spectrum, I suppose, as well.
Because he's also on the cabinet where they're talking about the this, is it the centenary or something, or the 500 years or something?
Sure.
He's on the cabinet in the beginning, but he's not there.
Oh.
When you see Billy D. Williams at the sort of press conference at the beginning, you see Harvey Dent. You see that there is a Bruce Wayne plaque on the actual table, but he's not there, is he? Because you know what he's doing? He's out Batmaning, isn't he?
Because he's got those those roles.
Yeah,
I love that, and I love the duality that he's got those dual roles, but also he's got this yin yang thing with the Joker.
I think the thing about Batman that people do love is the duality of he's a very damaged character.
Yes,
and there's a lot of people in this world that are damaged, and by whatever it is.
We're all a bit damaged.
Yeah, we're all a bit damaged, and we've all had, we've all got issues, and I think that's why fans tend to understand him rather than sort of Superman, because Superman, it's all gravy for him, isn't it? You know what I mean?
No, he's an outcast in his own way.
He is,
and he can't be himself. He has to wear the silly glasses and be.
Well, that is true. Yeah. If you think about it, I suppose that is. Yeah, I suppose that's duality for anybody, really. I suppose anybody that's got something different, that they all wear a mask when they're out.
Peter Parker, Spider-Man, Tony Stark, Iron Man.
Yeah. And you want acceptance in society, so you wear the mask, so you are accepted.
Right. It's quite violent.
This is the film that spurred the 12. They needed to find. I think when the film originally came out, it was released as a 15 because there was no 12.
Right. They had.
There was only the cinema that was doing 12.
Was there a 12 in the US the whole time?
I don't know. No, I don't.
PG-13.
I think it's PG-13. Yeah. Okay. I think that's what PG-13 is. R12. I think.
I suspect so.
Yeah. But this was the first movie out there like that where they realised, right, okay, we can put adult elements in it. That 12-year-olds and up can deal with. So maybe we could put in the odd F-bomb here.
Sure.
We can put in the odd, bit of violence, but it's
the
not...
odd boob.
Yeah.
Jack Napier shoots the parents.
Yes.
He stabs a fella in the neck with a pen.
He does.
And the pen is truly a mightier.
Yes. It's your Uncle Bingo. Time to pay the check.
He falls into a nasty vat of goo.
Yeah.
And sort of boils a bit. It's really violent.
It is. Also, he gets his face messed up.
He does, yeah.
Where his face, like, something shoots off, like, something shoots into his face and something shoots off as well.
Sure.
You see his face is all cut up and nasty before he falls in the vat.
Yeah.
Which was... Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do like... I just love Jack Nicholson in that bit where he's twiddling all the knobs in Axis Chemical and he's smashing the tank thing with the axe and he's causing all sorts of trouble, isn't he?
Yeah. Jerry Hall's mutilated face still looks great, even though...
It does. It does.
She's still Jerry Hall.
That's a nice bit of makeup as well.
A bit odd. It's like, oh, you've been mutilated, but you're still...
it's still nice.
It's still gorgeous.
Yeah. Well, you can't mess with perfection, can you?
I think it's quite interesting that Batman can beat up, because he beats up a lot of thugs and goons in this.
He does.
He can move in that horrendously constrictive suit.
He can. And I also like the shortcuts that he takes. So, you've got somebody coming at him, jumping at him, and he's got that...
He's got the grappling hook and he's got
that thing on his fist which he hits the guy in the nether regions.
He does.
So he takes a shortcut to beating him up.
Indeed. The fight in the bell tower we've mentioned is amazing.
It is.
Beauty and the Beast. If anyone calls you a beast, I'll rip their lungs out. That was great when you were a child.
It was.
He kicks a man with two swords, because there's a sort of Indiana Jones bit where he's fighting like a ninja fella.
Yes.
With two swords.
He does. And he just kicks him right in the middle.
Jaw.
And he
kicks him in the face, doesn't he?
He kicks him in the guy leaves an opening with all his...
Right, with his
silly
sword silliness.
Sword twirling, and Batman just takes the shortcut, just kick him in the face.
Yeah, it's Indiana Jones.
It is a little bit. I also noticed that Michael Keaton's face is totally uncovered when in that scene where he's shot in the alley.
Yeah, and
she takes a photo of him, doesn't she? And you do see
pulling his mask. Yeah.
You do see that it's actually off his face.
Oh, but he does kind of reveal his identity to it, though.
He does. Yeah.
So that's fine.
Yeah.
And he gets shot by the Joker, which is quite cool.
He does. In fact, I like the fact that...
It's really violent.
I like the fact that the Joker in this isn't Batman's level. So he can't face up to Batman in a physical fight.
No.
So he has to employ tricks and
goons.
Devilry and all that sort of devilment, I should say.
Yeah, but he knows how to wind him up.
Yeah, exactly. He's got to do that. Where the Heath Ledger one is completely different because he literally can just beat the crap out of Batman. He's his age.
Well, I don't know. He uses tricks as well because he's got like a
He does, but he's still tough.
Spikes in his shoes, right?
But he's still tough.
Yeah, he's still tough. But I think Batman, Christian Bale's Batman, is as much a tank as Michael Keaton's Batman.
Oh yeah,
and probably could rip Heath Ledger's spine out of his back of his head. He wouldn't, of course, because that goes against his code.
Yeah,
but
maybe that's why I like the Joker and Batman, because Batman's never. Joker's not really a match for Batman.
No, and Batman can't kill him.
No,
although we know what happens at the end of this movie, of course. It's just such a shame.
What that they got rid of him.
Yeah,
and they didn't. Yeah, well, I think because it was the early days of superhero films, I think they thought what we need to do is we need to have a character in here, then he gets killed or she gets killed, and then we bring another character in, and then and it's very, you sort of think to yourself, no, you've got to have some characters that don't die.
Yeah.
Because they can come back for the next film. They don't.
Imagine how good he would have been with Penguin.
Yeah.
And with Catwoman.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And with with Shrek.
Yeah. Bring Shrek.
Well, you know what I mean. Like Christopher Walken's character in Batman Returns. Like imagine...
Not the Shrek donkey.
No, Max Shrek.
No, it would have been great. There could have been some really good scenes with Christopher Walken and Danny DeVito, couldn't there? I mean, like in another film, if they'd kept him alive.
Yeah, with Nicholson sort of pulling the strings, double crossing.
Oh yeah, that would have been good,
Shrek,
wouldn't it?
And
the
manipulating
penguin.
with the penguin.
That could have been quite good, couldn't it?
Leading the penguin down a funny
I can't
alley.
see Jack Nicholson and Michelle Pfeiffer in a scene together though.
I would have loved that. That would have been brilliant. Yes, you could. That would have been brilliant.
No, I can't see
Wolf together.
They did, but I can't see Jack Nicholson. I can't see Joker and Catwoman together because they're funny characters.
I think that would have been great.
Do you?
Because they would have double crossed each other.
Well, they would have, yeah.
That would have been brilliant. I could have seen him and Danny DeVito's Penguin.
I would have liked to see the Penguin live in the second film and not get killed because he was such a great character.
I love
but
Max
they
Shrek,
just
so.
They've learnt from not killing off a character all the time.
Yeah.
Because you can bring them back and you can have a second round with them that can be enjoyable.
What do you think of like the performances though? Just before we get into that, what do you think of like Kim Basinger? Because I thought she was really annoying.
She's too screamy.
She's a bit screamy.
She's
Again,
it's very squeaky and screamy.
Yeah.
And she's very damsel in distress.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And I
Temple
don't
Doom
think
all over again.
Yeah, we don't really need that these days. We don't need. Oh, I'm a little damsel in distress, and
I think Kim Basinger could have handled herself very well.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
If
because
given
we had the
opportunity.
reverse with Batman Returns because Michelle Pfeiffer was a person who could take care of herself.
Savage.
She
Yeah.
So we had the complete reverse of love interests in. I'm glad they didn't bring her back though, because there was a thing where Sam Hamm had actually written a treatment for for Batman Returns, and Vicky Vale was going to come back. And she was going to be doing like some sort of kind of, I don't know, charity work or something. She was working in Gotham and doing, I
wouldn't have minded it. I just would have made her tougher. Let her express herself.
She was too damsel in distress.
Indeed.
Yeah.
What do you think of Pat Hingle's Commissioner Gordon?
I love Pat Hingle.
He's great. What do you think of Billy D's Harvey Dent?
Well, unfortunately,
No,
he's
it's not great,
underused, isn't he? He's underused for
It's
a cat.
such a shame.
It's such a great actor.
Billy, you know how I feel about Billy.
Yeah, I love Billy D. Williams. I mean, come on, we both lit up when we watched Rise of Skywalker, and and he takes off that helmet, doesn't he?
And
it's Billy D.
Jack Palance's.
I do. Well, I like Jack Palance anyway, so I thought
He's so unusual. It's not a great performance, but I like it.
It's very cheesy,
right? Cheesy, yeah. I don't think really Jack Palance is bringing his A game to it, but it's nice to see it.
He's just being a cheesy gangster, I think.
Right. How do you feel about Michael Gough's Alfred Pennyworth?
Brilliant.
Isn't he the Alfred?
He is the Alfred. What other Alfred is there? I mean, we'll accept other Alfreds.
Michael Caine, sure.
We will accept other Alfreds, but there's always going to be the Michael Gough Alfred, who is Alfred.
He had like a cross between Michael Caine and Michael Gough.
Yeah. I liked Michael Caine as Alfred, to be honest.
He's got the best line in Dark Knight, to be fair. Is it Robert Wall as Knox?
Yes. Did you
really
find him annoying? Yes, I was going to say.
I hated him.
Really annoying. And I remember listening to a podcast where they were talking about Batman Returns, and they were saying, "Oh, it's such a shame they didn't bring Knox back for something." And I was like, "No, it's not. It's not. They really didn't need him in Batman Returns."
No, he's fine in
You
this.
know,
His
I
character
mean, we don't
kind of
need
makes
him
sense in
going,
it.
you know, Commissioner, is there a 4'0" penguin, you know, in the sewers of Gotham? No, we don't need that.
Verdict.
This movie is big. It's big. It's the biggest.
This is big then.
It's massive.
Yeah.
Massive.
Yeah, cultural landmark, as I said.
Yes.
It's one of the greatest superheroes movies.
It's fantastic. And if you're around our age and you grew up and you were a kid when this came out, chances are this is going to be part of your childhood.
It's part of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be part of your childhood, like Star Wars is, you know.
Yeah, highest recommendation.
Yeah.
Join us again
Ah.
as we discuss Zombieland and Zombieland Double Tap.
Yes. So what we're doing is we're doing comedies this time.
Yeah.
We haven't really done comedies,
Horror
have we?
comedies, I suppose.
Horror comedies, yeah. So if you like a bit of Zombo and a bit of combo.
To my knowledge, we haven't really done comedies yet. We've done
No,
some
we
dark comedies.
Yeah.
We've done some dark stuff. But
with funny stuff in, but nothing really that. I mean, this is supposed to. I mean, Zombie
dark.
Man is a
Yeah, I suppose
comedy,
it's
isn't
dark,
it?
Darkish comedy.
Yeah.
Darkish comedy horror.
Okay.
Zombieland and Zombieland Double Tap. He with Jason, I with John. You can find us on Letterboxd. I'm at Bastard.
I am Kerja_Relon.
How's that spelled?
KERJA_RELON.
You can find us on social media.
You can. Cinemattraction_podcast on Instagram.
So professional.
Thank you.
Be excellent to each other.
Yes, and thank you very much for listening.
Okay, lady, bye-bye.
Oh,
You want me to throw a shrimp on the Barbie?